minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. I mean, she made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us to close out the week here on Hacker After Dark. Boy, where did January go? I heard Baloo talking about that as I was walking in. Just seemed like we had Christmas, right? Not all that long ago, and all of a sudden, January's gone. February arrives this weekend. Groundhog Day is Monday. Still probably one of my favorite movies. Bill Murray was the man in the early 90s. At some point this weekend, I will probably have to watch Groundhog Day. It is a yearly tradition right around this time of year. But we will talk a lot about what's going on in the world of sports up until 10 o'clock tonight. We will talk a little Gator basketball. They have a big one on Sunday against the Alabama Crimson Tide, 1 o'clock, national TV, ABC. Of course, you can also hear it right here on 1010XL. With that, I wanted to welcome Patrick Young to the 1010XL family. I did the Gator Bites podcast with Patrick Young earlier today. You can check that out on the social media channels, 1010XL Gators on YouTube, 1010XL Twitter/X. Florida Gators on 1010XL. You can catch that on all our streaming platforms. Patrick and I, every Friday, will have the Gator Bites podcast, and it's pretty cool to be doing it with a guy that was a Defensive Player of the Year, a McDonald's All-American, and quite frankly, just a really good dude. So we welcome Patrick Young to 1010XL, and I certainly enjoyed doing our first edition of the Gator Bites podcast with him earlier today. He will join us on Hacker After Dark, probably starting next week. Tonight, we'll go to another one of my favorites. Mark Wise of ESPN does a terrific job covering the Southeastern Conference mainly. In fact, we're going to call him tonight when he's in Athens. He's got Texas A&M and Georgia tomorrow on the SEC network, but Mark is going to make time for us to talk a little SEC hoops, a little Florida Gator hoops. That comes up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Also, and this is where I wanted to start tonight, you know, and I do this every year, right after the Jaguar season ended. So 2.5 weeks ago, I had Mike Ginnetti, the founder of Spot Track, on. And I think I literally had him on 48 hours after the Jaguar season ended. It was the following Tuesday. And we laid out a blueprint, right, for the Jaguar offseason. And the reason I do that is because it's so fresh and you want to start looking ahead as quickly as possible and stop dwelling on the loss, because there was a lot of dwelling going on about that Buffalo loss. But now that we've all had a chance to decompress, we've all taken a deep breath, basically 3 weeks since the season ended. We know now that both Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile are returning as offensive and defensive coordinator. We're all just in a different frame of mind from the Jaguar point of view now than we were 2.5 weeks ago when I had Mike Ginnetti on. So if you missed that conversation, I'm going to bring you a Hacker After Dark replay coming up here in about 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll lay it out for you. If you're not familiar with Spot Track, it's very simple. He is the owner and the co-founder of Spot Track, and they are the website that this is their time of year. Now, they do it for every sport, but you're looking at contracts. You're looking at salary cap questions. You're looking at contract projections. How many teams have dead cap space that they have to eat due to previous contract issues? That is what they do. That is what they are the best at. And Mike Ginnetti is the owner and the co-founder. So we'll talk about Devin Lloyd. We'll talk about Travis Etienne, Greg Newsome, Monteric Brown, among others. And we will lay out a blueprint for the Jaguar offseason with Mike Ginnetti of Spot Track. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. So Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us to close out the week here on a Friday on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Aaron Williams, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So, the conversation will continue until March 9th. March 9th is when that legal tampering period of the NFL offseason kicks off. And March 11th is when pen can meet paper and you can officially sign free agents. Got news for you. That's not that far away. I mean, we're January 30th right now. We're talking, what, 38 days? Yeah, 5 weeks. 5 weeks from Monday is when NFL free agency begins. And you got the Combine and, oh, by the way, the Super Bowl before that arrives. You also have to do franchise tag designations, which I'll talk about with Mike Ginnetti in a moment regarding either Devin Lloyd or Travis Etienne. So it's going to go quick. It's going to go quick. And the Jaguars have a lot of questions to answer in the next 38 days. Now, we know about the Big Four, and I'll get to those in a moment, the Big Four free agents. But the Jaguars have a lot of free agents. They signed a lot of guys to one-year deals last year. Some of them contributed. Some of them you'd probably like to see brought back. So here's how it looks. The guys that are scheduled to hit unrestricted free agency when the legal tampering period begins 38 days from right now. Dyami Brown. Dyami Brown's gone. He's not going to be back. I'd be flabbergasted if he's back. Some moves worked. Some moves didn't. Dyami Brown, you thought it was looking good in training camp and in the preseason and maybe even early on in the regular season, but it just fizzled out. It didn't work. You signed him for a one-year deal. No harm, no foul. I can't see a scenario where Dyami Brown is back here in Jacksonville. Kind of the same thing with this guy, Emmanuel Ogbah. Was it all bad? No. I mean, he had the fumble recovery in Denver. He had a couple of sacks. But he also was a healthy scratch a few times this year. Again, kind of like Dyami Brown on offense. You took a swing for Emmanuel Ogbah, a veteran defensive end. I would say that one probably didn't work. But again, it was a one-year deal. He's probably gone. Let me save that one. Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick is a guy I'd like to see the Jaguars bring back. You traded for him from Detroit. You gave him a 6th-round pick. Now, again, is Tim Patrick going to make or break your offseason? No. But I think schematically, goal line packages, blocking downfield, I think you could do a lot worse at wide receiver 4 or 5 than Tim Patrick. So to me, I would absolutely bring Tim Patrick back if it was doable. Certainly more so than Dyami Brown and more so than Emmanuel Ogbah. Dennis Gardeck. Here's another one. Veteran guy. I'll be honest with you. They signed Dennis Gardeck last year when I was in the middle of the Caribbean on a cruise for my May vacation. And I didn't really know who Gardeck was other than I knew he was the guy with long hair on Arizona. That's literally all I knew about the guy. Come to find out, he's a madman. Good football player. Now, he's got some age on him. He's got an ACL in his past. He's 31, 32 years old. You're not going to break the bank, certainly, but I would be pleased if they were able to find a way to bring Dennis Gardeck back to compete for a roster spot. Austin Johnson and DeJuan Smoot, 2 veteran defensive linemen. Again, signed them to one-year deals. I would be surprised if either guy is back. I like DeJuan Smoot. I interviewed him in the locker room a bunch this year. I don't think he was a bad addition by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that veteran defensive lineman with 11 draft picks, with you hope some young guys emerging, I would be surprised if either Austin Johnson or DeJuan Smoot were back. Then you got DJ Dallas. Again, they brought him in towards the end of the year. I thought he did some nice things, but I'd be surprised if he was back. Two guys that better be back are Matt Dickerson and Quentin Morris. They need to re-sign Matt Dickerson and Quentin Morris. For guys that we didn't expect anything out of in August, you got a ton out of between Dickerson and Morris. You want to talk about Jaguar DNA, what it means to be a Jaguar, intangibly rich? Look no further than those two guys. It would be a disappointment to me if Dickerson and Quentin Morris were not Jaguars in 2026. You need to figure out a way to bring both of those guys back. Now, Dewey Wingard. And then we'll get to the big four. Love Andrew Wingard. Luckily, I had a witness, Dewey's first rookie minicamp. It's my claim to fame, and you can ask Leon Searcy about it. He was standing right there with me. I'm at a rookie minicamp. Did I know who Andrew Wingard was back then? Absolutely not. Had no idea. But I went out to rookie minicamp. I'm standing next to Leon. And I say, Leon, look at 42. That dude's going to be a player. And here we are 7 years later, and Andrew Wingard is still a Jacksonville Jaguar. Thankfully, I had a witness. Dewey's my guy, man. I do wonder if his time is up here, though. If you can work out a way to bring him back, I would love it. Does he see himself as a starter? Does he want starter money? There could be some issues there with the emergence of Antonio Johnson, Caleb Ransaw coming back into the fold, obviously Eric Murray, Rayon Lane. It's going to start being a numbers game for Dewey. I'd love to see him have his entire career as a Jaguar. This is the first time I have legit wondered if it's been his final game as a Jaguar. And then the big four, and we're going to spend a lot of time on these guys with Mike Ginnetti of Spot Track. He comes up in less than 10 minutes. Greg Newsome, trade did not work out. I don't think it was a bust of a trade, but I don't think you got the return for Tyson Campbell like you expected to get with the addition of Greg Newsome. I would be surprised if Greg Newsome came back. Monteric Brown, that's a guy you'd like to bring back if the dollars make sense. You got Jordan Lewis in the secondary. You got Jarian Jones in the secondary. You're likely to have Travis Hunter play more corner. We'll see about Christian Braswell. You might need to bring one of those guys back. If not, you're going to need to add some corners in the offseason. But I think of the two, Newsome and Brown, Monteric Brown is far more likely the guy to be back, in my opinion, than Greg Newsome. And then the big two, Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne. I just think somebody's going to pay Devin Lloyd. I think somebody's going to pay Devin Lloyd. And if you look at James Gladstone, not that this matters entirely, but you look at what Les Snead does with the Rams, all right? You look at their history. They tend not to spend big money on linebackers. They tend to do that, which is obviously where Gladstone learned. Now, he's doing his own thing here in Jacksonville. Maybe he has a different philosophy than Les Snead. But if you look at the Rams over the last however many years Snead has been there, decade, whatever, 9 years, they tend not to spend big money on the linebacker position. We'll see what happens with Devin Lloyd here. I think he might have priced himself out of the Jaguar price range. Etienne's the puzzling one because he was so good in Liam's system. And he fits Liam's system like a glove. But is somebody going to come in and pay him big money? And if Liam believes that any running back he has can be productive, do you let Etienne walk and, for example, maybe bring in Rachaad White from Tampa, who's also an unrestricted free agent that Liam worked with in 2024 that is also going to be available in free agency? Just something to think about. But clearly, Etienne and Devin Lloyd are the two big decisions. Can the Jaguars franchise either one of them? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of those avenues, lay out kind of a blueprint for the offseason. Mike Ginnetti is the owner and the founder of Spot Track, and he joins us next on a Friday night here in the city of Jacksonville. Let's lay out a Jaguar offseason blueprint, free agency-wise, with Mike Ginnetti of Spot Track next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
They get up early every morning to help you start your day with sports and a smile.
That is a good cup of joe.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Good morning.
Kind of like a cup of radio coffee. Mornings on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here for Prize Pick. The big game is almost here. No better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Pick, where it always feels good to be right. Big game max discount in play? You betcha. This week, Prize Picks has a special max discount for the big game. Live in the app now. Drake May needs just one passing yard for the max discount to win. He'll get that. Just add another player to your lineup, and if your picks hit, you cash in. Oh, yeah. You find your community on Prize Picks, right? With a new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups for winners with a single click. Missing your fantasy team? My league is already over, but with Prize Picks, I don't have to wait until next year's draft to keep playing fantasy. But here's what you got to do to play. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code 1010XL. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code 1010XL, $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
When it's game time, make feeding the crowd easy. Chicken Salad Chick serves fresh Southern-style chicken salad, flavorful sides, and crowd-favorite catering trays. Order ahead at chickcatering.com or visit one of 4 area locations today.
Pulitzer Prize-winning human rights champion Vladimir Karamorza is coming to the Florida Forum February 3rd. For your chance to win tickets, text FORUM to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it. And send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. ET here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Get your tickets for the Tom Coughlin J-Fund Wine Tasting Gala. Join Super Bowl winning coach Tom Coughlin at VyStar Ballpark Thursday, March 5th and raise a glass to help local families tackling childhood cancer. Enjoy hundreds of wines from around the world and food from top local restaurants. Buy tickets and learn more at tcjfund.org/wine. tcjfund.org/wine.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an I-CAR Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Jacksonville, you voted, and Baker Glass came out on top. The Bold City Best Awards are all about locals choosing their favorites, and you picked them for Best Auto Glass and Best Glass and Mirror Service.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
Hi, this is Dale Murray with Murray Automotive Group in Stark and Kingsland. Save yourself from those big city dealers and their fast-talking mumbo-jumbo. No matter what your automotive need is, we've got you covered. Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and nobody beats our prices. I mean nobody. Shazam! Plus our exclusive 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified vehicle. And we'll trade anything from high heels to wagon wheels. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray. I'll be waiting for you. Shazam!
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bold City named 904 Gutters with a Z the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us till 10 o'clock. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. So a few weeks back, after the Jaguars season came to an end, I had a conversation with Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the co-founder of SpotTrack, the website that is designed to look at off-season priorities for teams, talk about salary cap issues, contract projections, free agent contract projections. We did a deep dive on Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, Greg Newsome, Monteric Brown, among others. I want to bring you a Hacker After Dark replay of that now that we've all kind of taken a deep breath after the Jaguar season came to an end. Here is my conversation, my Jaguar offseason blueprint, if you will, with the owner and the co-founder of SpotTrack, Mike Ginnetti.
Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguar season came to an end on Sunday, a 27-24 loss to the Buffalo Bills, but you can't dwell on it for too long. We're already in the middle portion of January. The scouting combine, less than 2 months away. Free agency, about 2 months away, as the Jaguars have a lot of tough decisions to make here in the coming weeks. One of the guys we always go to when it comes to the salary cap and an offseason outlook for the Jaguars is Mike Ginnetti of SpotTrack. He is the co-founder and the owner of SpotTrack, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how we doing, man?
Very good. Just kind of pushing through this offseason that's already here for many of these NFL teams, but good to be back with you, man.
Yeah, I always enjoy having you on. I wanted to talk to you about 3 or 4 weeks from now, as opposed to talking to you after Wild Card Weekend. Certainly a tough loss for Jacksonville. Quickly, before we dive into the salary cap and all that stuff, Mike, just your overall thoughts on the Jaguar season that was in 2025.
Incredible turnaround, right? This is a team that ranks 6th in dead cap because of the offseason aggressiveness of both adding and subtracting in various ways. They're going to carry some of that dead cap into 2026, so still some work to do. But, when you bring in a brand new regime from top to bottom and you're trying to resuscitate a quarterback that you invested a heck of a lot into, to have this kind of success immediately has to have people on cloud nine heading into 2026, especially with the options that are available here.
All right, let's dive into those options. Again, SpotTrack. First off, let's start there. I would imagine most people listening tonight, Mike, know about SpotTrack. For the ones that do not, boy, it's always a great resource, but particularly this time of year with you guys and what you know about the cap and analyzing every team's situations.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're going team by team right now, so that's kind of the thing to watch. As these NFL teams are eliminated from the postseason, we're pushing out off-season previews with all these estimates and players to watch for and extension candidates and breakdowns. So it's if you follow teams closely, it's probably a good time to jump on a SpotTrack to find your favorite team.
All right, big picture. Jaguars overall coming into the 2026 offseason, how do they look from a salary cap perspective as it stands right now?
Right now, they're kind of right up against it. About $5 million a room initially, but that's going to dwindle a little bit when some of these practice squad players are signed back to reserve contracts. So there's work to do. There's work that's available, though, right? You can certainly convert some of these salaries into signing bonuses and free up, 20 to 30 million. Just in that regard, and then we start talking about bubble players and things like that to get ourselves, safe for free agency in the draft. But I wouldn't say they're going to be flush with cap space at any point in time. It's just one of those situations where they have added bigger contracts the past couple of seasons, and many of those are working out now. So not going to be the most aggressive team free agency-wise, but there's certainly other channels to utilize right now.
Now, the Jaguars sort of got ahead of this in the last couple of weeks with extending both Jacoby Myers and Cole Van Lannon. First and foremost, Mike, your thoughts on those contracts and how that affects what the Jaguars can and cannot do.
The Myers one seems like the perfect definition of 2025 for the Jaguars, which is we're going to push a button and it's going to give us immediate impact. And that's exactly what Myers has been in his short time there, which justifies, a $30 million guarantee on his extension here, basically through the 2027 season. So you've added, another ample weapon at really a mid-tier cost for a player that could give you above average production. Good start there. And then obviously, with Van Lanen in the left tackle situation, you're kind of band-aiding a Walker Little mistake that I think you can account for in the next couple of weeks here. But again, you've got a left tackle at below second-tier price here. And if he works out in this new scheme, which it seems like he fits well, you're going to have some value there, at least for the next couple of seasons before the really start to get big.
Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the co-founder of Spot Track, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville, laying out a blueprint for the Jaguar offseason. You mentioned Walker Little, and it's funny you did that because we were actually talking about that last night. What, if anything, can the Jaguars do about that contract moving forward?
It's such a primary preem position still. I do think you're going to find somebody who wants to take a chance on him. Look, they've been down this road with Cam Robinson the past couple of years, right? I do think there are teams that will take chance to resuscitate some of these left tackles, even if they have to move them across the other side of the field a little bit here. But you've got a 1-year guarantee on this thing. It's a 1 year and $12 million. There are way bigger risks that teams will try to take this offseason than taking a flyer on that. So I think it's the trade, maybe a couple players on the trade block for Jacksonville, but I think primarily you start with him because you have replaced him on the roster with the extension for Van Lanen, and this is just one of those positions that moves every single offseason.
If there were to be other players that you mentioned, potential trade candidates, Walker Little and his contract might be the biggest one. Anything else that jumps out to you about guys that are still under contract?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hot take, but I think there's relevancy to talk about Brian Thomas Jr. just because he did start off with such a rocky start to this new scheme and sort of ended up somewhere in the middle in terms of targets and availability. Look, he's got a ton of value on this rookie contract still, but there's not a first-round pick to have in 2026 because of what happened last year with Travis Hunter. How that Hunter situation shakes out positionally has a big impact on this as well. But if you can get yourself a top 100, maybe even a top 60 draft pick for Brian Thomas Jr., it's at least worth taking phone calls for right now, especially because you've added Myers into the fold on a 2-year guarantee.
Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the co-founder of Spot Track. I want to ask you about this year's free agents, but there's a lot of work to do. Let's begin with Travon Walker. We know he will be here in 2026. The question is, Mike, will he have a brand new contract at the beginning of 2026?
It's a 50-50 call on my part. I really struggled with this one when I did the offseason piece for Jacksonville because he really has made a nice turn. But is that turn reliable? Is it consistent enough? Can it go to another level? Can he stay healthy to the point of where $20 million a year is worthy of their time? He's not quite there yet. He's about a $16 million player in our system. If he's willing to take something around that, like a 4 for 64 with 2 of those guaranteed, I think Jacksonville signs that dotted line right now. My guess is he wants to bet on himself. So you're looking at a situation where you play out the 5th-year option. Maybe there's a franchise tag to tender next February if you need to, but I think you let this one play out for one more season.
And there's 2 guys that are now 3 years into the league that both made giant jumps this year. They're eligible for extensions. Brenton Strange and Parker Washington. What are your thoughts there?
No question. 2 of the most exciting offensive weapons in the league right now in terms of, coming out of nowhere. You probably have to touch both these contracts right now because they're going to get some boosts in terms of how the rookie arbitration stuff works. So they'll probably be sitting with $4 to $5 million salaries regardless of whether you extend them or not. With Washington, you're looking at a situation where you can probably get him close to $60 million over the next 4 years, and that'll still feel like some value if he continues to graduate forward a little bit here. And with Strange, I don't think he's ever going to live to that top tier tight end market, but if you can get him on a $12 million deal right now, which is kind of the going rate for that up and coming tight end, while this cap pushes forward to $300 million, that's going to have some value over the next 2 years as well. So strike early, strike while you can. Everything's kind of feeling good on the offensive side of the ball there. So I'd lock these players up for 2 to 3 year guarantees whenever possible.
Final thought about guys that are under contract before we get to the free agent class. Any thought about Antonio Johnson extending him this offseason?
Yeah, it's a nice player there. He's going to have a little bit of a mix of starting/depth role, which hopefully you can get some value financially for a player like that. But man, he's almost like a closer where he comes in and does exactly what you're asking him to do at the right time. That's got some value to it on the open market. So I would look at a player like that at around the 7 to 10 million per year mark. But I could see the agent saying, no, we're gonna punt on that and let 5 other teams value him first.
Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the founder of Spot Track. All right, guys that are scheduled to become free agents in about 2 months. Let's begin with Greg Newsome, the man they acquired from Cleveland in that trade for Tyson Campbell. Up and down for Greg Newsome. He's a guy that probably is going to want to get paid pretty significantly. What's your thought on Greg Newsome?
Yeah, I just don't have the consistency numbers-wise to get math to work in his favor right now. I've only got him at about $9 million a year, Ryan. So I don't know that he wants that on a multi-year contract. But his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, has done much better work with much riskier players. Let's put it that way. So if we're pushing this thing into the 14 to 15 per year mark, I think Jacksonville probably says no to that. But if this is a player looking to reset his value a little bit and get himself on a showcase situation for 1 year, a return to Jacksonville and a defense that clearly has been cooking here does make a little bit of sense. So I'd be looking for that if I'm Jacksonville. But if he's looking for a multi-year guarantee, he probably hits the open market. Another
defensive back that I know the fan base wants back but doesn't make sense financially is Montaric Brown.
Whew. Look, this one's weird because I know this guy doesn't have the stats that go with near, mid-tier cornerback money, but our math keeps telling me $15 million a year. And I know that sounds big for a 7th rounder, I could see it landing a little bit lower than that, especially if he wants to return to this Jacksonville defense. But right now, he's got a lot of things in his corner, including the calculations of our algorithm. So if a team wants to go big and try to make him their number 1 option on the left side of the field, it could be about $15 million a year, but we'll see where it all ends up there.
Couple of more from Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the founder of Spot Track. All right, and the 2 biggest ones. Let's begin on the defensive side of the ball with linebacker Devin Lloyd. The Jaguars did not give him the 5th-year option. They are probably regretting that now, would be my assumption. Devin Lloyd's going to get paid this offseason by somebody.
It's just one of the biggest comebacks from a rookie campaign and a rookie contract that we've had on this side of the ball. So, yeah, the option would have been $14.7 million. They declined that. He's now worth $20. He's now worth top of the market, off-ball linebacker money. How many years guaranteed remains to be seen, and which team is willing to go that route. But yeah, they missed on this one. But by the way, they're pretty happy to miss because this guy really took steps forward in all the right directions. They got the most squeeze out of that juice, and we'll see. This is a position that some teams opt to pay, some teams opt to never pay. So we'll see where Jacksonville lands in the next couple of weeks here.
Is the franchise tag accessible there for Devin Lloyd? Is that something you would look at if it were you?
It's not, because they haven't separated off-ball linebackers from edge defender linebackers in that franchise tag. So you're talking about a top-of-the-market edge defender price to keep Devin Lloyd on that franchise tag. And Jacksonville just doesn't have the cap space right now to take something on like that through February and March. So I don't think that's the route. It's just about, can you get this guy to come down a little bit on his price to stick around with the defense that he's clearly working in right now.
And the other big one is certainly Travis Etienne. What a year he had in Liam Cohen's system. He's still really young. He's going to turn, I believe, 27 at the end of this month. What do you think about Etienne's future?
Yeah, and again, not enough sample size at this kind of production to really give him a solid mathematical number. We've got him at about $7 million a year. There's a world where a team goes out there and says, let's start with 12. Okay, let's put this thing on the books and try to maximize his ceiling, which everybody knows exists. It's just a matter of getting this thing to be consistent and healthy and all that stuff at the right time. But again, if he likes where he is, if this is the right fit for him, Jacksonville's in a power to get some of these deals on team-friendly contracts right now because of their status and the scheme that is clearly working with some of these players. So math not in his favor. I think the team fit makes this thing maybe $7 to $9 million per year for the next couple of seasons.
Similar question I asked you about Devin Lloyd. What is the thought about a franchise tag being in play for Etienne?
Doable, it's over the 10 million mark. If you're gonna price him on a multi-year contract somewhere else at that price, then maybe it's possible. But again, Jacksonville's in cap space trouble a little bit to start the season. So going up in cap to take on a tender like that, even as a placeholder, is a little bit reckless for them, and assuming that they want to bring in some other options to start March.
Big picture, we just threw a lot of numbers at the fan base. Those are the four big ones, right? Newsome, Brown, Lloyd, ETN. If it works out perfectly for Jacksonville, how many of the four could they bring back?
I always kind of cut it down the middle. If you bring back half of the free agents that you'd like to at least consider bringing back, I think you've had a successful offseason because there's just so many ways to replace players right now, especially through the draft. And there is an ample draft pick class right coming out for many of these positions we're talking about. So I'd say 2 out of the 4 makes it successful, especially if those contracts have a little bit of team-friendly value to them.
All right, and you mentioned $5 million, and obviously based on your rankings, the Jaguars are in the bottom third of teams with cap room. But every year we see this, Mike, and you alluded to it earlier, $5 million becomes $20 million pretty quickly when you finagle contracts. Take us through that process.
Well, it's going to go down to about -10 in the next 24 to 48 hours here because they brought back their practice squad players, which for the most part, every one of those players counts for about $1 million each. So there's going to be a bit of a shell shock over the next week here as some of these things are turned over, and then there'll be some restricted tenders that'll take it down even further. So there will be a moment where Jacksonville's going to have to actually make some movement here to get themselves cap neutral by March 11th. But like you said, there's a Trevor Lawrence conversion. There's, Eric Armstead conversion or maybe extension. You've got a lot of players that are worth a darn on the defensive side of the ball that you could either tack on a year for cap purposes or simply just do a salary conversion with some void years for cap purposes. It remains to be seen how this new front office is going to handle those kind of structures, right? Will they be a void year team? Will they be a dead cap team? Or will they try to keep it closer to the book like Tampa Bay did, a team where some of this regime is coming from? So, it depends on how aggressive they want to be with those restructures, Ryan, but there's certainly a world where they can free up 20 to 25 over the course of the next few weeks and at least be healthy, if not ample, for free agency on March 11th.
Mike, as we wrap up, you mentioned some trade candidates. Are there any players on the roster when you were doing your Jaguar preview that you could just flat out cut and save a bunch of money?
I didn't find it. And it surprised me because I worked like heck to try to make it happen. I try to find 1 or 2 of each for every team. They did such a nice job of targeting those kind of players out of the gate. Look, there's a couple of tight ends behind Brenton Strange that I think you can move on from. Hunter Long has a guaranteed salary for 2026, so you're probably keeping him for 1 more year. You could probably move on from Johnny Munt, who can free up about $2.7 million. But he's a nice depth player for a situation where you need some blocking for your running game. I didn't have a big swinging release candidate this year because they were aggressively doing that all of June, July, and August in 2025. So work already done on that regard.
It's going to be a busy time for James Gladstone, no question about it. It's always a busy time for Mike Ginnetti over at Spot Track, the owner and the co-founder. Again, Mike, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, about your website and what they can look forward to as NFL free agency approaches.
Yeah, thanks. So all these numbers are spewing out here, all available in table format, and certainly we're spewing this stuff out on socials at Spot Track on all those networks as well, and doing some YouTube breakdowns of many of these contract situations, both new contracts and some of the current ones that may have to get finagled or traded or released over the next couple of weeks. So we're trying to keep up with as much of this rat race as humanly possible.
Mike, I know you're busy. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk later this offseason, pal.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the adorable chess man on the trucks.
There are 2 things you should ask yourself about your garage floor. How clean is it now, and how clean would you like it to be? A typical bare concrete floor doesn't just collect dirt, it makes dirt.
It is literally made of dirt.
As much as you sweep and mop, the dust and grit just never ends.
And drips from your car seep into the pores, staining the concrete forever.
A Checkmate multi-layer floor resists drips and stains. It comes in your choice of dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear shoes in the garage and track dirt back in the house.
Gorgeous?
Check. Durable?
Check. Tidy enough to walk on wearing clean white socks? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com. That's CheckmateCoatings.com.
Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
A new year is the perfect time to finally get organized. Hey, this is Lauren Brooks, and I love our closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. From closets and garages to home offices, entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and more. Beautiful, functional storage for any space, lifestyle, and budget. Start the new year strong with 40% off plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free in-home consultation. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
The First Coast Games is an annual team-building challenge to introduce fun activities into the workplace and focus on your employees' health and wellness goals. These goals include some friendly competition, of course, including pickleball, cornhole, volleyball, flag football, and other team sports. The games will begin in March. Register your company and teams at fcymca.org.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Appreciate Mike Giannetti, the owner and founder of Spot Track, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. More on some of the things he said concerning Jaguar free agency coming up in a moment. You know, I'm not as much of a movie guy as I used to be. I used to watch a lot of movies. And I mean, I still do, but I'm not an obscene movie viewer anymore, probably like I used to be in my younger years. But if I had a list of like childhood movies, if I had to make a top 10 list of movies that I thoroughly enjoyed in my childhood, you know, like The Goonies would be on there, right? Sandlot would be on there. Stand By Me would be on there. And I'll tell you 3 movies that would be on there. That's Home Alone, Home Alone 2, and Beetlejuice. So that's why today, when the news of the passing of actress Catherine O'Hara came down, man, that hit me kind of hard. I mean, that was everybody's holiday mom at the movies, right? And Home Alone and Home Alone 2. And I also love the work she did in Beetlejuice. And, you know, everybody's getting older, and I get it. You know, there's nothing you can really do about it. But it's like some celebrities, when they pass, kind of hits you a little bit. Man, Aaron, that kind of hit me today because we just passed the holiday season. My son loves Home Alone and Home Alone 2 already. I haven't let him watch Beetlejuice yet. I'm not sure if he's ready for that. That'll come soon enough.
Which movie?
Beetlejuice.
Which one?
Yeah, I got it, exactly. Say it 3 times. I like that. But Catherine O'Hara passing away, that kind of bummed me out today, man. That was unfortunate. He was only 71 years old. And look, as you get older, you know, when you're 20 and you say 71, well, that's old. But heck, man, I'm 42. I'm getting there. 71 doesn't seem very old anymore, and just sucks when I saw that news earlier today.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, but I mean, like you said, yeah, she did a lot of great work, and
It's always the memories of, what people leave behind. And, she definitely left a lot of ones. It looks like she left a lot of ones for you. It should be close to your heart.
Yeah, man, with Home Alone and Home Alone 2 and Beetlejuice. So, yeah, rest in peace to Catherine O'Hara, and certainly, thoughts go out to her family and friends during this tough time. Some of them just kind of hit you. And I guess because it was just after the holidays and we watched Home Alone ad nauseum. Forrest loves Home Alone. It's all he watches sometimes. I'm like, dude, there are other movies than Home Alone, and The Sandlot's the other one. He loves The Sandlot. All right, back into the world of sports. It's what we do here on a nightly basis here on Hacker After Dark. Let me throw some running backs at you real quick that are free agents if Travis Etienne departs this offseason. See if any of these do anything for you. Najee Harris, no, coming off an injury, he's getting older. Austin Eckler, no, too old. Javonte Williams is a free agent. Rico Dowdle is a free agent.
I like him.
I like him too. He's older than Etienne. Javonte Williams is younger, but I like Dowdle. You're going to have to pay for Dowdle, though. That's the thing. I mean, you got to find somebody you're not going to have to pay as much as you would have to pay Etienne. Dowdle's going to cost. Breece Hall will either get franchised or he'll be really expensive. I can't imagine Kenneth Walker not getting franchised. He's not getting out of Seattle.
No. But, I mean, you say that, but he has an injury history, and Charbonnet
just tore his ACL.
He did, but I believe he's younger, and you could make the argument that he was playing a little bit better than Kenneth in some of those games down the stretch and stuff like that. I mean, certainly when they played the Rams, Charbonnet was killing us.
Well, J.K. Dobbins of Denver, he's got injury issues. He's unrestricted. I'll give you one that I gave you earlier. Rachaad White. If you lose Etienne, now you got to make sure Rachaad White is going to come at a more reasonable price. That's the question. I believe he would. Although Spot Track has them pretty similar, which I'm surprised by. Rachaad White may want Travis Etienne money. I don't think he's going to get Travis Etienne money. That would be the one. If Etienne departs in free agency and you tell me I can replace him with Rachaad White, who was in Liam's system in 2024 in Tampa and did very good in Liam's system, and you put Rachaad White in here with Bashal Tutin and LaQuint Allen Jr., I think I would be fine with that. But outside of Rachaad White, I don't see a lot of free agents that kind of blow your socks off if you lose Etienne. So that is a little bit of a concern. There are names, but again, Breece Hall is going to be too expensive. Rico Dowdle is going to be expensive. Would Javonte Williams be good in Liam's system? I don't know. Eckler's too old. Nick Chubb's too old. Kenneth Walker, I don't think is getting let go in Seattle. And then you start Raheem Mostert's too old. Rachaad White's the one that kind of jumps out at you. Maybe Brian Robinson, maybe.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, he was a starter in Washington, gets traded, was the backup to McCaffrey in San Francisco. I've always liked Brian Robinson, but again, is he the kind of guy that would flourish in Liam Cohen's system? I don't know. He's a bigger running back.
Power back.
He's a power back, right. I mean, you look at Liam Cohen, he's good with the Bucky Irvings and the Travis Etiennes and the Rachaad Whites. I don't know if Brian Robinson would fit that criteria. So that's just, and we'll do this with Devin Lloyd maybe on Monday as we inch our way closer to the Super Bowl and free agency. Just something to think about. If you lose Etienne, is there somebody to replace him with in the running back free agent market? Mark Wise of ESPN talking college hoops. He comes up in about 20 minutes or so. Let's talk a little college hoops as well. Florida, a big one against Alabama coming up this weekend. We'll talk a little NBA as well. We'll talk hardwood next on a Friday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
The NBA is on 1010XL.
The Magic go deep in the heart of Texas. Orlando, San Antonio. Sunday at 4 on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, celebrating our 49th annual Valentine's Day sale. Come see our hand-picked inventory of thousands of pieces of fine jewelry, diamonds, and gemstones. This Valentine's Day, we have big discounts with jewelry for any budget. And with interest-free financing, you'll get the jewelry you love with a monthly payment you can afford. Monahans will also give you cash for your unwanted gold or silver, or trade it in for new jewelry and get greater value. Monahan Jewelers Valentine's Day sale with big savings in our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Catch Decision Day for college sports future stars.
Here's a list of people I've been keeping my eye on.
Next Wednesday,
National Signing Day on 1010XL is covered by
Baker Glass and Flame Broiler on 1010XL.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
It all begins with Speed Weeks, presented by Advent Health, February 11th through 15th. This week, you can win a 4-pack of tickets to the United Rentals 300 and ARCA Menards Series doubleheader. Who won the first Daytona 500? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010. Who won the first Daytona 500? Text the answer to 641-1010 for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the United Rentals 300 and ARCA Menards Series doubleheader, February 14th.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of All Trades show. Tune in next week where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater Irrigation
and drainage too.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it work. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
If your home doesn't have a fireplace, CSS can install a beautiful electric or gas fireplace from Heat & Glow with no major remodel required. See their showroom or cssoutdoor.com for a free estimate. CSS, you dream it, we build it.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Give a unique gift this Valentine's Day to that special person in your life with a custom-made candle or body care product from Wick, a candle bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
If a birthday or an anniversary is looming in your future, take care of it today by ordering a floral arrangement online at CuneFlowers.com. Hi, Flying Jacko here. Take it from me. An arrangement from Cune Flowers works like magic.
Hi, this is Dale Murray with Murray Automotive Group in Stark and Kingsland. Save yourself from those big city dealers and their fast-talking mumbo-jumbo. No matter what your automotive need is, we've got you covered. Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and nobody beats our prices. I mean nobody. Shazam! Plus our exclusive 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified vehicle. And we'll trade anything from high heels to wagon wheels. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray. I'll be waiting for you. Shazam!
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Till 10 o'clock, glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. You know, I remember last year, I was at my buddy's house, and I was watching the Royal Rumble, where it's every man for themselves, Aaron. There are no friends, only enemies. And I remember driving home from the Royal Rumble that we watched. A bunch of buddies got together and we watched it. It's what guys do, get together and watch grown men throw each other over the top rope. And I heard on 1010XL, and it happened late at night, like 11 o'clock at night, Luka Doncic got traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the LA Lakers. And I thought, yeah, right. I just need to get to sleep. I'm sleep deprived. And then I get home, get something to drink, go upstairs, get ready to go to bed, get on my phone. And yeah, Luka Doncic got traded about a year ago. And I know that because the Royal Rumble, I guess, is this weekend. And the reason I bring that up is the NBA trade deadline is next week, February 5th. And although I don't think it would have the shock value that the Luka Doncic trade did, because that was shock value the night that happened. Is Giannis going to get traded in the next 72 hours? Or before February 5th? 2 years in a row, are we going to see a generational talent in the NBA get traded? Now, the Luka trade came out of nowhere. Again, a year later, I still can't believe the Mavericks did that. At least with Giannis and Milwaukee, the writing has been on the wall now for some time. I think Milwaukee is to the point where they probably know they need to do it. They don't want to do it, but they know they need to do it. Because every month and year that they keep him after this trade deadline, the price tag for Giannis is going to go further and further south. If you're going to maximize your return on a player like Giannis, you got to do it now when he's still considered to be at the top of the game. Because he's been around for a long time. Giannis has been around darn near a decade, believe it or not. A long time. And at a certain point, his trade value is going to start coming down a little bit. So I do think for the first time, realistically, it would not surprise me if Milwaukee were to trade him prior to February 5th. Now, what other people will tell you, and I tend to agree with this, if you're Milwaukee, why don't you wait till after the season where you know where you're going to be drafting, you know where others are going to be drafting, you kind of get a lay of the land. Why do it now and not do it in August, June, July, or August? There is some merit to that. I guess my point is I would be stunned if Giannis was on the Milwaukee Bucks opening night next season, which is shocking that you could have Luka Doncic traded one year and Giannis traded the next. Arguably the two best players in basketball. And to show you how old everybody's getting, if you want a feel old statement, Giannis has been with the Milwaukee Bucks since 2013. He was a first-round pick in the 2013 NBA draft. Giannis was born in December of 1994, which means he just turned 31 years old. I remember when that kid was 20 and was taking over the league. Crazy that he's gotten to this point. Still a good player, but his value is going to keep going down unless Milwaukee gets something for him. We already saw Trae Young traded. You saw Luka traded last year. The idea that you don't trade superstars anymore in the NBA is far-fetched. Would it shock you if Steph Curry got traded from Golden State? It shouldn't. Any trade that happens after the Luka trade last year should not shock you. Luka Doncic might be the most shocking trade the NBA has ever seen. Anything else shouldn't bring shock value. It wouldn't surprise me if Golden State traded Steph Curry in the next couple of months. Nor would it surprise me if Giannis was on the move. It's just crazy times that we're in the NBA. By the way, Orlando Magic fans, they're playing Toronto tonight. Orlando down 7 at the half. Ugh. Changes are coming for that organization. I am as diehard an Orlando Magic fan as you will find. I'm pretty much over Jamal Mosley at this point. I think a change is needed at the top, and I think that change will probably happen sooner rather than later. Let's stick with the hardwood. Let's go to the collegiate ranks. The Florida Gators are on the basketball court Sunday, 1 o'clock at the O'Connell Center against Alabama. Big game for the Gators, who sit 15-6 overall, 6-2 in SEC play. Let's talk Gator basketball. Let's look around the Southeastern Conference, and let's do it with a man that has forgotten more about college hoops than I'll ever know. My buddy Mark Wise of ESPN. He is the college basketball encyclopedia, and he joins me next on a Friday night here in Northeast Florida. We're with you till 10. We're glad you're with us, Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark.
Mess with black and teal, and you'll be black and blue when the day is through. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Feel the power of Van Halen. Live, Jump, America's Van Halen experience. Iconic riffs. And David Lee Roth era energy. Sunday, February 1st at Thrasher Horn Center. Get tickets now at thcenter.org.
He's our Big Mac.
Woo! It's Smash Mouth football, baby!
Tom McManus brings his big opinions to Jaguars Today.
Every Friday morning at 10 a.m. on 1010 XL.
Protected by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
What's up, Duval? I'm Chad Volamic, owner of Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran-owned pool company for over 10 years. We specialize in new pool construction and pool renovations, built on military values, integrity, communication, attention to detail, and honor. Now is the perfect time to start your pool project, so when the heat hits, your pool is ready. As an Iraq War veteran and Purple Heart recipient, pride in what I do is everything. Let me show you the difference in how my team and I execute your pool project with military precision. Call Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran pool company. Company.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida Gator basketball team, just a dominating win this past Wednesday over South Carolina. They sit 6-2 now in the SEC, 15-6 overall, and they got a big one coming up Sunday against Alabama. What has gone right for Florida? Why have they won 10 out of their last 12 games? Let's also look around the rest of the SEC with Mark Wise of ESPN. The man has forgotten more about college basketball than I'll ever know, and that's why we love having him on here on 1010XL. Mark, how we doing, man?
Hacker, I'm doing great, man. Happy New Year. I got to tell you, I'm talking to you tonight from Athens, Georgia, and it is cold here.
It is cold here in Jacksonville, too, believe me. So you're in Athens tomorrow for the Dogs, huh?
I have the league-leading buckyball Texas A&M Aggies at Georgia. Should be a great game because both teams like to get up and down. Both teams press. If you like your action, 94 feet, 1 o'clock on the SEC network. See if A&M can stay in first place.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a wide-open SEC. There's no doubt about that. Mark, let's begin here with Florida. Boy, the non-conference, we knew how tough it was going to be. We had you on right about the start of the season, and, you know, quite frankly, heartbreaking losses to Duke and UConn and Arizona. I mean, Florida could not get a bounce to go their way in a lot of those non-conference games. But, boy, it looks like that might have toughened this team up a little bit. Winners of 10 out of 12. What has changed for this basketball team?
Well, I think the biggest change is they've gotten much better defending on the perimeter. I talked about that earlier in the season. You know, you just don't replace the experience, the physicality of Will Richard, Elijah Martin defensively on the perimeter. That's one of the big reasons why they were able to make that run in March is because what those guys can do defensively on the perimeter. Not a lot of teams have that. So Florida had they got two guards in the portal that everybody wanted in terms of Flan and Lee, and yet those guys are basically offensive driven. They're not real physical kind of players on the perimeter. I think it's taken them a while to get better on that end. As a consequence, you know, Florida's a top 10 defensive team in terms of KenPom efficiency. I think that's been the biggest improvement.
Mark Wise of ESPN. And look, when it comes to the backcourt, when it comes to Lee and Flan, certainly there were struggles shooting the ball to begin the year. And I wonder, Mark, the pressure. There was a lot put on these guys. Everybody knew about the NIL. Everybody knew they were coming in to replace 3 NBA players that led this team to a national championship. An immense amount of pressure on Flan and Lee. And I wonder if as the season has gone on, maybe the waters have calmed in that regard a little bit, and maybe some of the pressure at the beginning of the year is now off.
I think that's a good point because the front court understands the pressure because they lived through it. These guys did not. So in some ways, it was kind of unfair to expect them to understand the pressure, the fact that they're going to get everybody's best shot as defending national champion night after night. So I agree. I think it's taken them a while. I think the struggles of Condon at the Arc has really kind of thrown a curveball into whether or not they can play consistently on the offensive end. You have to remember in 3-point percentage, they're in the 340s out of 365 teams. So I don't, I know they just came off a good feel-good game and they made threes at a high clip over 40%, maybe for the first time all year. Maybe they can build on that. but man, is that a hard way to win games. When you are constantly losing the 3-point battle, that means you better be elite in other areas. Now, to Florida's credit, that front court, they're elite.
And let's talk about one of the front court guys, Ruben Chinyelu. Let's begin there. You know, Mark, you'll obviously appreciate this because of your work you did with the University of Florida for so many years. I thought Chinyelu was kind of like a Donnell Harvey kind of guy, a ferocious rebounder, great defender. And all of a sudden, in the last month or two, he's morphed into Udonis Haslem. He's got the rebounding, he's got the defense, and now all of a sudden he's getting a little offensive repertoire as well. Why has Chinyelu's offensive game improved so much?
I think it's what we call player development. And when these guys are looking at the portal first instead of looking at player development first, I think so many times we see that as a mistake, and people aren't able to do the kind of development that Chinyelu has done. A lot of credit goes to the staff. I thought last year, when they threw it into Chinyelu, it was a hope. Now, let's hope he catches it. Let's hope he gets fouled. Let's hope he gets something up on the rim. Now he's a complete threat. Now he's a complete threat to score. He's a complete threat to go to the free throw line. He's making free throws at a better rate for him. So from that standpoint, it is a different Chinyelu completely this year to last year.
Mark Wise of ESPN. You mentioned Alex Condon. Let's go there next. Again, a lot of expectations on Condon coming into the year. I'm not going to say he's played poorly because he hasn't, but has he lived up to the preseason hype to this point?
With everything except the shooting. Absolutely. You know, he flirted with a triple-double the other night in just 29 minutes. I can't tell you for a guy 6'10", 6'11", how hard that is to do. I think he gives Florida a see-the-floor big man that not many people have. Not many people have on the next level, by the way. It's a unique skill set for him. He is a great interior passer. He gets in trouble, I think, when he tries to do too much off the bounce from too far out. It was interesting because of his three-point struggles, and this is where I think you have to give the staff adjustment credit, because they do so much through Condon, and he's usually at the high post or at the top of the key in that high-low look that they like to use. Auburn just dared him to shoot. They never went beyond the free throw line. It's a great game plan. He didn't want to shoot it. He would look, and he finally took one and missed it. And so that kind of exasperated his struggles. But what they did in the South Carolina game was they moved him off that top of the key and put him in quicker action out on the perimeter where people just couldn't sag inside. Now, South Carolina is not the biggest team. We'll find out how Alabama chooses to guard Condon on Sunday. But I would be shocked if they don't do the same thing. So Florida made an adjustment by moving him around. I thought that was a good call.
And certainly we know how good Thomas Houck has been. There's a candidacy for him to be SEC Player of the Year, certainly in the All-American conversation here at this point of the year. Alabama comes in, and I got to ask you this. This Charles Bediako situation. I know Alabama's not the only team doing it, but this young man signed with the G League, with the San Antonio Spurs, entered the draft a couple of years ago. He wasn't drafted, but he has played in the G League for a couple of years. Tuscaloosa judge has since recused himself because he was apparently a donor to Alabama, but this judge had let Bediako in with a restraining order placed on the NCAA because the NCAA said, no, you're not doing that. And I know Todd Golden has been pretty vocal about this. What's your take on this whole situation? Because obviously it's a big storyline heading into Sunday.
It is a big storyline. Here, there's certainly some similarities with Bediako, Najee, international players in terms of it didn't pan out financially for him. So can the NCAA has some mystical formula that if you can show that it's basically living expenses and not making a big time salary, then they get to be more lenient. Where Bediako is completely different, and it seems to get not enough attention, is that he went to college. Najee did not. International players did not. So when he went to college, he now falls under the NCAA eligibility umbrella for the draft. So when he stayed in the draft, then he forfeited his college eligibility. What happened after that does not matter whatsoever. So what they're doing is Alabama is saying, and they're like, it could have been Alabama, it could have been pick a school, it could have been UCLA, UConn, whoever. They're challenging that eligibility because the NCAA did not clear him. So they've taken them to court in this issue. Are there some similarities? Absolutely. But are there some distinct differences? Yes, indeed.
Final moments, Mark Wise of ESPN. I want to end with a thought around the entire conference, Mark. Final thought on Florida. Again, they got a big one with Alabama coming up on Sunday. You mentioned Todd Golden and the staff and the job they've done, and I'll expand on that, and I want to get your thoughts certainly. At 5-4 this year, and even at 9-5 when they lost to Missouri to open their conference slate, and they were losing heartbreakers, by 2 and 1 and 3 points in all these games, it would have been easy to say, woe is me. We're coming off a national championship. Things aren't going our way,
right.
Whatever. But, man, to win 10 out of 12 and now be 6-2 in the conference, and for Golden to keep this team together, particularly after the early season struggles of Fland and Lee, I thought it's been a very, very good job by Todd Golden and that staff.
I couldn't agree more. First of all, here's the thing that you've heard me say this before. We are so outcome driven of how we evaluate teams. Ken Palm right now has Florida, I think, in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, in spite of losing those games. Why is that? Because they played well. They played well. They just didn't win. So we get too bent out of shape about, I've been using this example. Kentucky right now is 5-3 in the league, including the game that they had the miracle Christian Laettner-like shot to beat LSU. Otherwise, they'd be 4-4. If you look at Kentucky in the SEC standings and the statistics of league play, they're very middle of the road in every category. They're 7th in this one, 9th in this one, 10th in this one, 8th in this one. That's who they are, in spite of the outcomes that have them at 5-3. So that's my only point, is that, we just, the outcome can't determine how well or how bad you played.
Mark, it appears to be a wide-open conference. I know Lenardi on bracketology has a ton of SEC teams in, but he doesn't have anybody better than a 4 seed, I believe, right now. So maybe not as top-heavy as it certainly was last year. But having said that, still a very competitive league that's likely to get maybe close to double digits in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I agree. The league is a victim of its own success last year and we all do it. We go, well, you know what? 10 bids would be great, but that's not 14. Or winning the ACC SEC Challenge 9-7, that was good, but last year was 14-2. Those weren't the norms. That's not the norm. So we need to stop comparing this year to last year. Is the league as good at the top as it was last year? No, no one is saying that. But the league is just as deep. And whether you're talking about, the surprise of Texas A&M, the surprise of Georgia, how about what Vanderbilt's done? Vanderbilt's no longer a sneaky story. Vanderbilt's just damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, I just think that Arkansas, I love Acuff. The league is really, really good.
Who's the best team right now, in your opinion, as we enter the latter stages of January?
That's a great question. I've said all along, I like Arkansas's team the best in terms of what I think they give you. But if Florida can make threes, they certainly have the ability to leapfrog them. I don't know what's going to happen with Alabama. I don't even think Alabama knows what's going to happen with Alabama. So that's kind of hard to gauge. I can easily see one of 5 teams maybe winning the league at this point in time, which I think kind of speaks to the volume of depth that I'm talking about.
Mark Wise of ESPN. He will be on the call tomorrow. SEC Network, Texas A&M, and Georgia, in what is a big weekend of SEC hoops. Mark, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for taking time out, and we'll talk soon, pal.
That'd be great, Hacker.
Favorite things about the First Coast? It's like a big, small town.
You're absolutely right.
1010XL, Jacksonville's big, small town sports radio.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. This week, Prize Picks has a special max discount for the big game. Drake May needs just 1 passing yard for the max discount to win. Just add another player to your lineup, and if your picks hit, you cash in. It's just that simple. And now Prize Picks has early payouts. If your lineup is off to a hot start, you have the option to cash out before the game even finishes. At Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. You can choose Flex Play and get paid even if one of your picks misses, or Power Play for the biggest payouts. And all Prize Picks withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the Prize Picks app today, use promo code 1010XL, and get $50 in lineups instantly when you play $5 in lineups. That's promo code 1010XL to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5 in lineups. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-691-9999. That's 800-691-9999.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 30th, 1994, the Dallas Cowboys defeat the Buffalo Bills for their second straight NFL title, while giving the Bills 4 straight Super Bowl losses.
Unlike those big corporate-owned stores, Beard's Diamonds doesn't rely on AI to help you find the right diamond. Beard's Diamonds specializes in DI, Diamond Intelligence. As Town Center's only locally owned jeweler with international connections, Beard's Diamonds is the smart choice for choosing the right jewelry for any occasion. Our Diamond Intelligence comes from years of helping your Jacksonville neighbors and connecting them to beautiful, dazzling diamonds from top designers like Tacori and Verragio. Diamond Intelligence is about finding the diamond that expresses what words can't and leaves her speechless. And Diamond Intelligence is tapping into partners from around the globe to find your true treasure without the middleman markups and bottom-line algorithms. Come experience the local, loyal, and helpful difference of Beard's Diamonds in Town Center, home of Diamond Intelligence. There's nothing artificial about it. Beard's Diamonds, proud to be Jacksonville's jeweler at the St. John's Town Center.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Thank you to Mark Wise of ESPN for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Florida, Alabama, Sunday, 1 o'clock. You will hear that right here, of course, on 1010XL. Back into the Jacksonville Jaguars in a moment. Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, will join me to talk about the return of Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile. And also, we'll begin taking a look a little bit at the draft. The Senior Bowl comes up tomorrow in Mobile. We are basically 3 weeks away from the NFL Scouting Combine getting underway in Indianapolis. So the draft process has arrived. Senior Bowl tomorrow. And we'll talk about all of that with Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar coming up here in less than 10 or so minutes. Don't talk a lot of tennis on here because I know you don't want to listen to a lot of tennis talk. I've done this long enough to where I understand that. But humor me for one moment, if you will. This morning at the Australian Open, you know, I love watching things in sports that are just miraculous, right? In sports terms, are miraculous. What Novak Djokovic did this morning was miraculous. At 38 years old, 38, he won a 5-set match at a Grand Slam over a guy in Jannik Sinner that had beat him 5 times in a row and was the number 2 ranked player in the world and is roughly 15 years younger than Novak. It was incredible. For a 38-year-old man, 38, to be able to go out there and run around for over 4 hours, be down 2-1 against the number 2 ranked player in the world, and to come back and win the 4th set and win the 5th set to advance to have an opportunity to win his 11th Australian Open title, that's nonsense. I mean, what world are we living in? He could win his 11th Australian Open and his 25th Grand Slam overall. Again, that's nothing short of miraculous. And I understand tennis is not the biggest deal here, certainly like it wasn't in the days of McEnroe and Connors or Sampras and Agassi. The American men have just not busted through. The women did, obviously, with Serena and Venus, right? But the men have not been able to bust through. Andy Roddick had 1 Grand Slam, but nothing since then. Even though there's a lot of good young Americans, Ben Shelton, the former Florida Gator, Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul, right? There's some decent ones. Francis Tiafoe, some up-and-comers. It's been all Federer, Nadal, Andy Murray, Djokovic. Well, Djokovic is the last one of those 4 left. The other 3 have since retired. And Djokovic is carrying the flag for that era, and he's carrying it very well because at 38 years old, he's going to be in another Australian Open. And by the way, all he has to do now, he just beat the number 2 ranked player in the world. Now he has to beat the number 1 ranked player in the world as he plays Carlos Alcaraz on what will be for us early Sunday morning over there in Australia for the Australian Open. I was just watching that earlier today, and I was really taken aback. At 38 years old in tennis, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be 38 years old and running around for 4 hours in a 5-set marathon, beating the number 2 ranked player in the world that is over 15 years younger than you are. I mean, any guy or any gal, anybody listening tonight can relate. The type of athlete you were at 22, 23 compared to the type of athlete you are at 38. There is a massive difference with your legs, with your stamina, with everything. And for Novak Djokovic to be able to do that this morning, it was unreal. Absolutely unreal. And again, I took it for what it was. I knew that I wasn't going to come in here and break down the Aussie Open with you. But I just wanted to point out that certain times in sports, you watch things that are like, wow, this is freaking awesome. And for me this morning, watching Novak Djokovic do that and beating a guy in Jannik Sinner that's that good and that much younger than him, and for Novak to overcome all that and win in 5 sets, yeah, that was freaking awesome. And I'm looking forward to the Alcaraz match on Sunday, where, again, Djokovic can add to his legend and win his 25th. I mean, that's a silly number. He has a chance to win 25 Grand Slams with a win on Sunday, and it would be his 11th Australian Open title. Back into the world of the National Football League coming up in a moment. Again, the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Certainly we'll take a look at that tomorrow. And then we have the NFL Scouting Combine. Again, the Jaguars, even though they don't have a first-round pick, they have currently 11 picks overall, 4 in the top 100, which includes 1 second-rounder and 3 third-round selections that they are scheduled to pick in April's draft. Senior Bowl, Combine, let's talk about this draft class. Let's talk about both Grant Yadinsky and Anthony Campanile coming back. And let's do that with my buddy Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. He joins us next on a Friday night here in the city of Jacksonville, heading into a weekend. We're glad you're spending it with us here on Hacker After Dark.
Your home for Florida Gators basketball is 1010XL.
There's a top 25 tension brewing in the swamp. Florida, Alabama, Sunday at 1 on 1010XL.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Parents, now is the time to start signing up your kids for the best all-sports camp in the 904. Tommy Houlihan All-Sports Camp in Jacks Beach. Register before February 2nd and save big. All-sports camps kids K through 6 all day. Extended hours also available. Kids can also register for the Beaches Basketball League, ages 3 years old through 5th grade. Keep your kids active this summer with Tommy Houlihan sports and basketball programs. Online at TommyHoulihanBasketball.com.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit HollisPools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 1461233.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Since 1927, Jacksonville has trusted Coil Fencing to protect what matters. And I trust them too. From tough chain link to your commercial project to sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love, Coil does it all. Did you know that Coil can also install, service, and maintain those automatic gates that help protect your neighborhood or business? To schedule a complimentary consultation, visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It may be winter in Northeast Florida, but it's one of the most important times to protect your lawn. Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. Their winterizer strengthens roots and improves cold tolerance. Pre-emergent treatments stop spring weeds before they ever start. What that means is you set the stage for a thicker, greener lawn when spring arrives. Call today to schedule your winter lawn treatment with Julington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
What race car driver won 27 times in one season?
When your homeowner's insurance policy is up for renewal, it's a good idea to shop around to find a better plan. Southern Oak Insurance for over 20 years provides Floridians a clear option. SouthernOak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Richard Petty, the King, won 200 times in his career, including 27 times in 1967.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building. So now's the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Maybe you have concerns about putting your home on the market and getting it sold. Well, let me alleviate those for you. There's a real quick solution. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold or they will buy it. Call 414-6200. Or go to chadandsandy.com. You'll find out for yourself. Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home or mine. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Anthony and Mary in Palmco said, we needed to sell our home to move closer to family, but low cash offers weren't cutting it. Since we'd only bought a year earlier, options felt limited, but not for Chad and Sandy. Call Chad and Sandy today, or log on to chadandsandy.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
New year, new lifetime dreams. Let's build them together. Jeff Breyer here with the Lifetime Family of Companies, your local backyard
and indoor
home improvement specialists.
That's right, Dad. Lifetime enclosures, lifetime flooring, and lifetime windows.
Glass and screen enclosures, outdoor kitchens, pergolas, replacement windows, all to enhance your home's livability and value. And a huge flooring showroom with thousands of the latest tile, LVP, hardwood, and carpet selections to help you fall in love with your home again.
Come experience the lifetime difference. Call or visit one of our showrooms today for our limited lifetime offers.
Lifetime enclosures.
In the game of vehicle performance and reliability, Atlantic Infinity is always the top pick. This is Hayes Carlion. Did you know that every certified pre-owned Infinity is inspected, factory-backed, with a limited warranty, and gets the same championship-level service as a brand-new Infinity? Every mile will feel like first class. Check out their full certified inventory now at AtlanticInfinity.com or visit Atlantic Infinity off Atlantic near St. John's Bluff.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Senior Bowl coming up already this Saturday in Mobile, Alabama. Obviously, as they say, the draft starts in Mobile as we start looking ahead to the NFL draft. The Jaguars, even though they don't have a first-round pick, they still have 11 picks overall, including 4 in the top 100. And, of course, the big news of the week, both Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile, the offensive and defensive coordinators, are returning to Jacksonville for the 2026 season. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. He's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Jordan, how we doing, man?
Doing great, absolutely. You know, a little colder outside than we're used to right now, but I think that everybody's pretty excited about getting those coordinators back, maybe getting some upgrades on the staff underneath them on both sides of the ball, at least in the Jaguars' eyes. And I think it just makes it for a smooth transition into year two. Like, they accomplished a lot in year one, but I think within the individual schemes on both sides of the ball, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that they can kind of unlock. And now they have the ability to do that without any bumps in the road on the coaching staff.
Jordan, you and I spoke right after the game, so it's been about 2.5 weeks. I think, the haze and the fog has kind of lifted. And what I said earlier this week was it's almost like a turning of the page, getting Udinski and Campanile back. If they both would have left, which there was at some point you thought maybe both of them would leave, right? Udinski was a finalist in Cleveland. Camp was reportedly a finalist in Arizona. It would have just been salt into the wound after that loss to Buffalo. But because both guys are coming back, it's almost, to me, like a turning of the page. And now we can get ready to focus on 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it seemed like internally the Jaguars were focused on trying to keep both of them. They were, getting these new offers ready for them and making sure that they could try to do their best to retain them. But you also have to think about, okay, how do we replace them if they do move on? But you're absolutely right. Now it's like, okay, we can be full speed ahead now. We got to get Araujo on defense, kind of in our world, in our realm, but he's already worked with Campanile, so that shouldn't be too difficult. And obviously same thing on offense with the new run game coordinator who Liam Cohen's known for like 20 years. So it's absolutely a turning of the page. I think Liam Cohen's got to be breathing a huge sigh of relief, and the entire staff probably too.
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Jordan, one of the interesting things when you look at it, 2017, Doug Marone's first year, they win the division. They go to the playoffs. The bottom falls out in 2018. 2022, Doug Peterson's first year, win the division, go to the playoffs. Bottom falls out in 2023. And now, amazingly enough, Liam Cohen's first year, 2025, win the division again, go to the playoffs again. Why will the bottom, in your opinion, not fall out this time?
Well, you never know, right? Stranger things have happened, but it does feel different in a lot of ways. I think that you have a head coach now who is not shying away from the play calling responsibilities, which I think the intentional lack of clarity on Doug Peterson's part in that regard just did not make any sense. And I also, beyond the coaching, which I do think is significantly different, I think that this is a harder working coaching staff, top to bottom, and I think that they will do their best to self-scout and really improve and try to push the thing forward instead of, in my opinion, what the Jaguars did in the offseason after 2022 was very vanilla outside of going for Calvin Ridley, and that was before the offseason anyways. But I think there is cohesion within the front office and the coaching staff, and there's really bright minds in both of those camps. And so I think you have better leadership. I think you have more cohesive leadership and people that are on the cutting edge. You also have a lot of talent in that roster still.
You know, one of the big things about retaining the coordinators is that it's going to be, to me, maybe one of the highlights of the offseason, because there's no doubt there are salary cap issues, Jordan, with the Jaguars. And I want to get to the draft with you in a moment, but almost across the board, people I've had on over the last 2.5 weeks, when I ask about the futures of Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne, it's not that people don't want them back, but financially, can the Jaguars bring them back? And from everybody I've talked to, it's going to be nearly impossible with Lloyd and very difficult with Etienne. What happens to this roster if both guys leave?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, for one, it's not impossible to bring both of them back if they want to. It would be surprising to me if that's the plan they go with, because it just would eat up so much cap space, but they could definitely do it if they wanted to. They can restructure guys at the top of the salary cap table like Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines Allen and some other guys. So they can maneuver it if they want to. I just don't think that they're going to think that's the best use of their resources. To me, as well as Devin Lloyd played this year, I think with Anthony Campanile and his affinity for coaching linebackers, he's gotten the most out of like all the linebackers he's worked with over the last few years. They can feel confident that they can go find somebody, or that they might have in the aggregate with Ventrell Miller and Jack Kaiser, guys that can get the job done here. And Devin Lloyd's probably a $20 million guy. $20 million a year guy. Now, Travis Etienne, on the other hand, going to be a lot cheaper if they want to retain him. And you also look at the Rams past, which is where James Gladstone and Liam Cohen cut their teeth. The Rams have shown that they will pay a running back a reasonable price point. They have shown the opposite at linebacker. Like they've kind of been the bargain bin shopping at the linebacker position. Now, will James Gladstone feel the exact same way? These aren't the same players, et cetera. But that's what you've seen in the past. So I would think it would be more likely for Etienne to come back than Devin Lloyd, but it could be very well be exactly what you said, where both guys are gone and they're having to retool. They've got good options already on the roster. I do think that they would potentially look to bolster those two positions in the draft, or maybe the second wave of free agency, if they end up losing both of those guys.
Couple of more for Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. For anybody that follows Jordan on social media, he does a ton of podcast work and everything on YouTube, Twitter, etc. You know that Jordan is a draft guy, and it is Jordan's time of year, no doubt about that. Jordan, the Jaguars don't have a first-round pick, but what they do have are 11 picks, including 4 in the top 100. And before we even get there, I think it's important to note, You know, you get Travis Hunter back in 2026. He only played 7 games. And you get Caleb Ransaw back, the third-round pick last year, who didn't see the field in the regular season due to injury. So before you even talk about the 11 draft picks, the fact that Hunter and Ransaw are back in the fold will certainly lighten the blow of not having that first-round pick.
And also, Wyatt Milam more, hopefully not dealing with the knee injury throughout the offseason and into the season as well. That's another one. So, yeah, I think that the addition of Travis Hunter back onto the roster, and you never even got to see Caleb Ransaw playing a game, unfortunately. And, Jalen McLeod missed the whole season basically, too. He started practicing a little bit at the end, but he missed the whole season, too. So, yeah, they've got a lot of guys coming back from injury from this past rookie class that can really make a dramatic difference. And obviously none bigger than you mentioned at Travis Hunter. I think that he is well positioned to have like a true breakout year wherever they end up using him more.
When you look at the draft class, and let's focus on the Jaguars and their draft capital, you're more into this than I am. I just dove into the draft literally in the last week or so, but something I've gathered pretty quick is this draft class, there's probably 13 to 15 guys that are considered to be first-round talents, which is not a lot. And then I don't know, based on what I've been told, Jordan, how much difference there is between pick 25 and pick 70. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always these conversations, right? I don't know if I would agree with that, but I do think that there's a lot of opportunity for where the Jaguars currently have a lot of draft capital. It's currently like 56, 81, 88, and then a comp pick in those top 100 picks. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of opportunity to find players that can come in and make an impact. And now when you talk about that, or making an early impact, the path isn't quite as clear as it has been in years past. And James Gladstone talked about that a little bit. Like a lot of the best Rams draft classes weren't immediate impact guys. People just remember what happened towards the end with some of those FSU guys and other guys coming in and making an immediate impact on the defensive line. But I do think that if the Jaguars handle things a certain way at certain positions before the draft, there will be opportunity to draft players that can come in and potentially make an immediate impact.
If it were you, when you look at this roster, and again, this conversation will change in 6 weeks with free agency, but what we know right now at the end of January, beginning of February, give me your personal 2 or 3 positions of need for the Jaguars to hit in the draft.
Yeah. So again, like you said, definitely will be dependent on what they do here in the next few weeks. But I think you look at the interior of the defensive line as certainly an area that you can upgrade. Eric Armstead going into the final year of his deal. Who knows what they decide to do in that regard. And then Devon Hamilton also going into the final year of his deal. Do they extend him? Do they keep him around? I don't know what they're going to do with these guys. But I think you love what Devon Hamilton did as a nose tackle, as a run defending anchor defensive lineman. Like that was a huge part of the Jaguars having the best run defense in football. But Eric Armstead, I think, was a little more up and down, honestly. You need him to generate a little bit more of a consistent pass rush. Can they try to find that in this draft class? I think potentially. You could potentially also try to find it in free agency. So I do think that interior defensive line is a need. I still think addressing the edge group, trying to get more juice behind Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker is something they can do. If Devin Lloyd goes, do you look at linebacker? Probably at least bringing in a veteran. And then if Etienne goes, you got to have another running back. You've only got LeQuint Allen and Bashal Tutin. So is it these top needs where it's like you have a glaring hole and you can't go out on the football field and field a team? It might not be that type of thing, but it's like, where can you find upgrades on your roster? Another position I really want to see them address is tight end behind Britton Strange. I think if they could establish a team that has like a great 12 personnel package, that could give them a huge advantage.
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Jordan, final question. We got about 60 seconds. As you said, with Hunter and Ransaw and McLeod and Kaiser and Milam all coming back from injury, there's going to be an influx of young guys already. They sit with 11 picks right now. That's a lot, man. They got 3 third-rounders alone. Do you think they're going to use most of those, or do you expect Gladstone to be pretty active draft weekend with moving around the board?
I think the answer to both of those questions is yes. I think they will use, well, okay, maybe they won't use most of the current picks that they have, but I think that they will use most of 11 picks. I don't think that they're going to make trades to where they end up having a really tiny draft class. I just don't see that happening, but I think you'll see trades up and then trades down. Like you saw last year, right? Like the Jaguars were really aggressive to go get Travis Hunter, but then they made moves to acquire more draft capital later on and even into this season. So I think that they will move up and down the board with regularity, but I think you'll still end up having at least a full draft class with like these 7 draft picks, but probably more than that.
Senior Bowl out in Mobile on Saturday. We're less than a month away from the scouting combine in Indianapolis, and we are now less than 6 weeks away from the start of NFL free agency. Jordan, what do you have coming up on Generation Jaguar in the coming weeks?
Yeah, we're diving further into the draft. We're talking about free agency, looking at the Jaguars' different positions throughout the roster. And now that, like we've talked about, the kind of coaching carousel is done, it seems like for the Jaguars at least, you can kind of be full steam ahead on the roster for the next couple months.
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Jordan, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Thanks so much for having me on, Hacker.
And thank you to Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark, and what has been a very interesting week right here in Jacksonville. At the beginning of the week, there was real question, real uncertainty about the futures of offensive coordinator Grant Udinski and defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile. We know Udinski was reportedly a finalist in Cleveland for that job opening. There was also a lot of conversation surrounding the Buffalo job with him. As far as Campanile, he is believed to have been in the final running for the Arizona job. Yet at the end of the day, both coordinators come back to Jacksonville and will be here in 2026. To me, that is a major win for Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Tony Boselli, and this organization moving forward. Some continuity on the coaching staff after a very successful 13-4 campaign. Certainly does feel like a good thing. Again, a very welcome sight that both Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile will be back here in Jacksonville in 2026. So we certainly spent some time on that. Spent some time on Florida basketball as well. They got a big one coming up on Sunday against Alabama. The Gators 15-6 overall, 6-2 in SEC play as they take on the Crimson Tide Sunday at 1 o'clock. We got the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama coming up this week, and then preparations well underway. Super Bowl 1 week from Sunday, Super Bowl 60 out in Santa Clara between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Friday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. And we have a ton of people to thank. And Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. We always thank Jordan for joining us. Thank you to Mark Wise of ESPN. Mark has been one of my college basketball guys for years. The man has forgotten more about college basketball than I'll ever know. He's on the call tomorrow for Texas A&M and Georgia on the SEC Network, and we really appreciate Mark stopping by to talk not only Florida hoops, but look around the Southeastern Conference as we enter the month of February. And we also had a Hacker After Dark replay of my conversation with Mike Ginnetti, the owner and founder of Spot Track. Again, NFL free agency, 5.5 weeks away. The Jacksonville Jaguars have 38 days until the legal tampering period begins, and decisions will have to be made on what Devin Lloyd's future is, what Travis Etienne's future is, Greg Newsome, Monteric Brown, among others. After the Super Bowl is played, it's straight to the Combine and then straight to free agency. So we certainly appreciate Mike Ginnetti, the founder of Spot Track. It's their time of year. That is the website to go to for salary cap projections, contract projections, over the cap, dead money, you name it. They've done it for a long, long time. And we certainly appreciate Mike Giannetti for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back on a Monday. We will certainly be full steam ahead to the Super Bowl. We'll have a lot to recap from Florida, Alabama, and who knows what will happen in the world of the National Football League between now and then. So we certainly do hope you join us Monday night here on Hacker After Dark, beginning at 8 o'clock. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Friday evening with us and your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. Man, as we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Friday evening and a fantastic weekend. And we will talk to you again Monday night to kick off a new week right here on Hacker After Dark beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Do you know what the secret of life is?